Hello, ciao, hola, my name is TP, and welcome back to Rimworld. I'm happy to be back into the swing of things again. Like Tarzan in the digital jungle of Premiere Pro, swinging away into a better upload schedule, hopefully. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be the average age of the past few UK or US leaders by the time episode 10 comes out, for example. On a similar topic, the longer we stay in the intro sequence of the video, the more the raging inferno that was left last episode gets to expand. So, probably best to... Yep, smooth transition there, Peter. We were going to have to tackle certain sections of the base one at a time, and since our stockpiles were some of the first to be hit by the wave of the heat and burning, Squeeze and Anton took themselves as Two-Face enthusiasts, practically using themselves as fire blankets in the lukewarm room temperature of 276 degrees Celsius. In order to ask the flame to use its inside voice, I evacuated the Harvey 2 dumbasses out of the building and requested the demolition of the nearby walls, even though the fire managed to do so itself shortly after. We had to immediately turn our attention to our kitchen made entirely out of wood. Applying a similar strategy, this area of major concern was not excluded from the wrath of Hephaestus. It seems we were going to need our hard hat and clipboard once more for this repair job.
Please cast your vote to evict.
I vote to evict
Komodo.
The loss of Komodo sent Skew on a clip-baiting spiral of anger and false visions from his weird cult-like past. During the break, he took even more burn damage, and subsequent infections were left to spread since he refused any communication from the rest of the colony. Unfortunately, without the medical attention, Skew was swallowed by the dark abyss and sent to see Finch in whatever afterlife befalls the rest of us. With the departure of 2 of our previous 7 colonists, the presence of a wild man was more than pleasing for these old sad eyes. The plans were drawn for bringing him in, but after our peaceful advances were rejected, it was time to enact Operation Laban's Operation Networking Unity through Strategy and Combat Care, which entailed us basically taking the wild man to Browntown. Brother, please. We would capture the wild man, and over time we could convince him of civilized life. There was just one slight issue with the plan. A tiny inconvenience that wild men can only be tamed and not recruited, which was something I'd only found out after executing the operation. So, yeah, we would kind of just let him go and hoped he didn't understand concepts such as grudges and revenge. It was finally time to begin the refurbishment of what was still mostly damaged from last episode, where Zeus's irritated bowels took it to the next level and unleashed a dry thunderstorm. And all I can think of is if this much damage was done to our home, then I dread the damage that was done to Zeus's plumbing. And to signal the beginning of said affair was completing the research for temperature control. Our efforts were initially focused towards what could become our kitchen and diner, which we had reshaped to run more flush with our main road. Temperature control allowed for us to separate off a section of the building designated as a cold room for food storage. But to even get this far, we would require a small forest or two, since our current stockpiles of wood was at... nada.
I'm feeling, however, that our actions with eyebrows and in comparison to a company that's possibly one of the biggest contributors to the destruction of the Amazon ecosystem. And among other things, no name dropping of course, but all I'm saying is a combination of a 4-wheel vehicle and the organ that water runs along a fish so it can breathe.
Marcus Kincaid and a few people he's probably roped into helping him out appeared on the border of our structures. There was no doubt that some of his stock was once owned by our enemies, meaning that Marcus was playing for both sides again. Despite this, it was clear that the stock of weapons were of a higher caliber than what we currently owned, so we still managed to strike a deal even though we were fully aware of the lack of refunds available. The mood of the colonists was still less than to be desired, so whilst construction of the cold room was being finalised, we went and stole something someone else will have said in order to bolster the morale of our own troops. This inspired us to design the kitchen and butcher room further, apparently. With the knowledge on the level of hostility Randy was throwing our way, it was finally time to begin walling off our initial base, like Walsina, except we hadn't yet researched 60-meter muscle faces to stuff inside, like those furries did to Shaggy. Horrendous references aside, the creation of these walls would allow us to control any future battles by choosing where fights will take place, as opposed to being reactive to whatever path the AI decides is the fastest way to victory. However, this life was not going to allow full defense to be built without a hurdle or two. To begin, Squeeze was diagnosed with lung rot, brought on simply from the fact that my corpse pile, don't ask, was in a frequent pathing spot the colonists would constantly use. And shortly following this, 2 big kitties took a liking to the opportunity for food. And now our colonists were still down, sure, but they certainly weren't out, despite our lack of proper defenses just yet, and our aim being as good as that one guy that recently tried to game over a political figure. Senra was having none of it, and as soon as the ideal range was reached, it was good night alt-right for our invading kitty cats. Okay, build montage time.
You're afraid to get wet.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Take it back now, y'all.
Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing on that ship?
Sir, finishing this fight.